So this video is about one specific Lego piece, and honestly, it's one of my favorites. It's one I think that deserved just a whole hell of a lot better than it got, having only been seen in just one color combination. It's dual molded. That said, though, if you stick around to the end of the video, I also have a little bit of a teaser, a little bit of a spoiler to showcase on a project that I am working on, but I wanted to talk about this weapon. And if you're keeping count at home, this is actually the second video I've made talking about this weapon. I made one a handful of months ago where I talked about a specific hidden use of it, because fun fact, this weapon is not symmetric. It is actually off-center slightly, but that allows for you to pair two of them together to create this really nice sort of manta ray-like bow, shield, blade thing. Really lovely. That said, though, I've just said that twice, I think that this is overall a really interesting piece because although it's a Bionicle piece from 2009's Terex Glatorian set, it doesn't really look the part. I mean, yeah, you can tell that it's a piece from that kind of lineage of pieces, but there's not a lot to this piece that specifically invokes Bionicle. There aren't a lot of pistons, if any. The closest thing we can see is a little nub of plastic there. You've got the grills here, maybe a heatsink. You could see it as a gear. I don't know. It's just a ornate design, and it's one that I quite like. The unfortunate side of this, the tragedy that this suffers, is that it's only available in this color combination, gold and this sort of frosty blue color, or kind of a color rare in and of itself as well. And it's not notably much of a softer plastic than the gold, which I find quite fascinating, as oftentimes when you see dual molded parts like this from Lego, from Bionicle specifically, that secondary color is going to be more flexible. But it does get quite thin. It tapers quite sharply to the very end there, and that is prone to bending. That said, it's not what this video is about. Third time I've said that as well. Okay, so why do I want to focus on this? Well, it's unfortunate. I look at a weapon like this, and my brain immediately thinks, this should have been made in more colors. I could have easily seen this in just a solid silver or solid gold. Obviously, if it's dual molded, I would want to continue that trend with more dual molds. I could very easily see this in a silver with a maybe trans orange or frosted orange kind of color too, and that would look very lovely on a piece like this. It's a flame weapon. You could see a blue flame here, I guess, as well. But the ornate design overall is really fun to work with, and so I think to myself, how would I create this piece in new colors? And the first thing my brain, of course, jumps to is resin casting. Now, resin casting has its own little obstacle course, right? But I do think that this is a weapon that could be easier to tackle with resin casting than some, especially when it comes to dual molding like this, because in essence, although blasphemous, I think the easiest way to tackle a weapon like this would be to separate it into its two parts, separating the blue from the gold, maybe leaving the little frills of blue down here for consistency's sake, but overall getting rid of the rest and making essentially two separate molds. That way, not only can you control the color of the back end, but the front end too, and then you could slot the two pieces together and use some UV resin or something to essentially permanently fuse the two pieces. I think that that's overall probably the best, absolute best option for a piece like this. Now, this is a piece that I've used on a handful of builds for various different reasons. However, it's not one that I've used as often as I think I would like to, if only because I don't have that many. I think I have 5, maybe 6 of them, which is, you know, not 0, obviously, and it's better than a single Terex set. But one of the features, one of the builds that I feature the piece on is the Ornithopter. It is a piece that has had its own dedicated video too, though I don't believe it's been seen in this full form here, just missing one piece right now. And I do want to tackle a couple other things like this open axle on the back end here. Notably, there's a lot that can go in those places. But you can see that the Terex blade shows up in a group of 3 here, and the vehicle overall is really lovely because although it's a little gappy towards the top, that is partially intentional to give it that sort of Fibonacci whirl, and also to just kind of hint at the fact that this is designed to be essentially a box set or a box sized set. You know, the function is relatively easy to use, and you know, 50 pieces or something like that. It's been a while since I've counted. Overall, I think it's a good set that I could have easily seen from Bionicle for $30 or something back in 2009. But of course, I did go ahead and make another build incorporating this piece, and it's actually the one that kickstarted this video idea in the first place, because it is a fairly simple design, but it's a really effective one in my opinion too, in that it essentially creates a really cool looking custom torso. This is built around the Anika torso back here, and actually leaves a lot of the connections still open as well. So overall, you get a lot of use case out of something like this. You get something that looks really aesthetically pleasing, and though in this case here I don't think it's really sized appropriately for a Toa or Glatorian type character, I think you could get away with it still. So overall, definitely one of my favorite weapons, but I did promise to showcase something else in this video that I was working on. Literally just started working on it last night in the few minutes I had free. Continued working on it today in the few minutes I had free. And that is the Storm Dragon and just the head design for it so far, which I still want to continue going over a bit more than this, but I think overall this is pretty good. I'm very happy with the design of it as it stands so far. Obviously having this sort of like icy or cloud-based blast in the front there, the yellow eyes, which are very hard to see on camera, unfortunately, but I do think look quite nice. And I do want to close up a little of the areas on the sides of the head here. I think it uses this headpiece here to pretty good effect as well. And yeah, I'm overall very happy with it. Before I end the video, one other thing I wanted to showcase here, because I have about 1 million of this piece specifically, and I don't think this is going to show up well on camera, but is that one of them that I have for some reason is very slightly transparent. I don't know why, and I just think it's funny. So that is basically it for this video, but if you guys really want to help out the channel, best thing you can do is engage with it in whatever way you think is appropriate, because that helps with YouTube, and obviously it helps since I've basically taken this week off. That was not my intention, but it's just kind of what happened with my schedule, but yeah, unfortunately that hurts with the YouTube stuff. So anyway, I appreciate whatever engagement you guys choose to have. You can like, subscribe, that really helps out, and of course let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Plus, you can check out the description where we have the Discord and 700 some odd members if you want to go ahead and join that and chat with all of us over there. On top of that, we also have Instagram and Patreon, and there will be more exclusive content coming to Patreon, including early videos, so you can check that one out as well. $1, $3, and $5 tiers. All of them get access to that and get access to, well, a huge plethora of files. Anyway, take care, guys.